Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, family. How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me? Good morning. Cool, cool. I see the good mornings coming in. All right. Got you, got you. Sorry about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you guys drop in the chat for me that can you guys drop in the chat I love me. Say I love me. I'm on my phone, so okay. I see him. I see the I love me's coming. I love me coming. I see it. I see it. Okay, cool, cool. Good. Well, once again, good morning. It's a blessing to be a part of this movement and just being a part of such involved with such great, people, family members. You guys are just I'm so grateful to so grateful to actually be a part of this and have you all to actually just be sitting here and just listening to me. I say this all the time, but it's a blessing to me and my family. And so I just want to say thank you and to you all, and that I really, really appreciate you all for just taking the time out and to just listening this morning. So with this morning motivation. So with that being said, I wanna go back. I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back to um, high school. So, for example, if this is you, if you're this individual that say that sometimes you ponder and you be like, and you're like, man, if only I can go back to high school, I would do this, I would do that. If that's you, drop a drop a 7 in the chat for me. If that's you, I see so many sevens coming. Okay, everybody. God. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. So I remember kind of pondering and saying that multiple times, and if saying if I can only go back, let me move this out of the way. The high school, I would do this, I would do that. So going back to high school, to my high school days, I'm kind of piggybacking off of Javon from what he was talking about yesterday, just in college and as an athlete. And so me personally, going back to high school, pondering on high school, reminiscing about high school, I remember being that kid in high school, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be able to relate to what I'm talking about as pertains to if I could, I would do this and do that. And back in high school, if you were able to go back. So I remember being in high school, and all I was trying to do, honestly, was just was just to try to like prove myself to people, prove that I was this, prove that I was that, and it wasn't working out right for me. And I remember like playing sports. I knew that I was fast. I was very fast, very, very fast. Still fast today, but I was very, very fast in school. And I remember my sophomore year, I ran a for all the athletes on this call, anyone that plays sports, you know what a 40-yard dash is. So I remember running a 4.32 in a 40 on grass, and I didn't even have cleats on. So I ran a 4.32 in a 40 on grass in high school, my sophomore year. And so, like I said, I was very fast. And so, but I didn't know the potential that I had. I didn't know the potential that I had. I didn't know that. I didn't even realize to the extent of what a 4.32 meant, honestly. And my brother Tremaine on here, Tremaine, he knows what I'm talking about. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, so I ran it in high school, ran it in my sophomore year, and I remember like I couldn't play sports. I was not able to really play sports until like my actual sophomore year. Because my freshman year, I was timid. I was afraid to actually become myself, to be me. And so my sophomore year, I started to kind of break out and to become Donovan as it pertains to sports. But still, I was not becoming me as it pertains to my personality. So I continued to kind of hold back from that. Those that the guys that I actually hung out with, they knew who I was. They knew the real Donovan. They knew the Donovan that was funny, silly, outgoing, etc. Like I'm very silly. For those of you that don't know just yet. But so going back to high school, I remember like running track. I remember before I actually started track that season, my sophomore year, I remember the coaches like not really knowing my potential, not really knowing what I had to offer. They always looked at how I carried myself, how I presented myself, but they, because I was laid back. I was a laid back individual, but they didn't know that I had that in me. So I remember going out for track, and I'm practicing, doing my own thing. And I started to realize that I noticed everyone else on the track was actually implementing what I was doing. Like the type of routines I was actually doing and coming up with my own routines, they were actually doing that. And so I'm like, okay, like, wow, they actually following what I'm doing. It was cool. But still, I still didn't understand the type of impact that I was bringing to the table. And so fast forwarding, matter of fact, let me rewind that. Let me go back. So it started with football. Started off with football. I played cornerback. So I remember that I started late my sophomore year, and I remember all the guys that were actually playing, they were ahead of me. And I remember going into the locker room, and the coach had on the board, he had all of the cornerbacks, and I was like, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like number 6 or 7 on the list. And so I remember going in there, and I seen that chalkboard, and I walked out, I walked back in. I looked at everybody that was ahead of me that played the cornerback position, and I looked at everyone and I said, before the summer is over with, I'm gonna be number 1 on the board. I said, I'm telling every last one of y'all, before this summer is over with, I'm gonna be number 1 on the board. So I kid you not, 2 weeks later, I'm number 1 on the board. I beat every single cornerback out because they could hit like me. They was not as fast as I was. None of them. And so I'm good. I'm excited about playing sports. I'm excited about playing football. Now I can finally become myself and be, and be the Donovan that I knew that I had within me as it pertains to football. Next thing you know, football season starts. I get a call from my coach. They call me in the office. I can't play football because why? I'm ineligible. And I'm like, I'm ineligible for what? Well, I was ineligible because of all the days I missed in school. Because once again, I had to sometimes stay home and take care of my younger siblings, my younger brothers and sisters. So I had to kind of stay home multiple times and to help out. And so I was ineligible to actually play that year. So I knew, okay, there's track season. So you know what? I can prove that I'm this, I'm that, I can run. So I ran that my sophomore year in track season for track. I did pretty good. My junior year, I did phenomenal. My junior year, we went to several different track meets, etc. And I remember my junior year, my coach, every single time we practice, I remember I was either like third leg, fourth leg. I was never first leg. I was never the first leg at all. Because my takeoff wasn't as fast, but I had great build-up speed. But I remember doing this track meet that could have took us that we were going to literally be going to the finals. And I remember in this district track meet, my coach ended up switching me. He wanted me to actually be the one to start off. And because he realized my takeoff was becoming phenomenal, it was getting really good. So I was very reluctant about actually, starting off, because I've always practiced actually getting, actually receiving a handoff. Always. I was used to that. I was never used to actually handing the baton, like starting off with the baton. So I was used to actually getting it placed in my hand. Javon, know what I'm talking about. all the guys, everyone that guys and girls, that all you guys that ran track, you know what I'm talking about. So doing this track meet, particular track meet, my coach wanted me to start off. It was good. They blew the whistle. I took off running. I dropped the baton. And everyone, from all of you guys that know what dropping the baton felt like, if you have dropped the baton before, you know what that felt like. I dropped it, and I was so disappointed in myself. That knocked me out of all my individual races because I was so disappointed and discouraged because of the fact that I dropped the baton, which has never happened because I've never practiced like that before. Never practiced. So my coach just assumed that I could handle, starting off because my takeoff was getting good. And so he actually devastating is exactly how I felt. And so I'm like, man, like, why would he even do that to me and doing a track meet? I mean, this is, we could be going to the finals, etc. And you literally switched me up doing this, doing the track meet. And I've never practiced that way before at all. And so I realized, like, I've been practicing all this time, all this time for how long? And he literally switched it up. And I'm like, and fast forwarding, I'm like, he didn't realize my true potential. You're like, and I allowed for that to happen. Of course, as a student in school with your coaches, you assuming, you're thinking, okay, your coaches know everything. Your coaches know what they're doing. Not necessarily in my situation in sports. And so I'm making a point here. So just kind of bear with me. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove to them, I'm going to show them that I can become this next year. Next year come around. And by the way, everybody was hugging me and was saying, it's okay. It was not okay to me because, and I was upset at my coach because I'm like, how can you do this to me? Right? I've been practicing this way all along, all this time. And then you do this to me doing the track meet, and devastated was what I felt. And so dropped that baton, messed up my entire track meet, all the other races I ran. I didn't do so well because I was so devastated mentally because of what had happened to me. Because I'm thinking my coach knew that, he knew what was best for me. That's what he thought. So I allowed him to do that by me respecting my peer and understanding, okay, he's my coach, he knows, but obviously he didn't know. And so fast forward, my senior year come, right? So my senior year come, I'm ready to run track, I'm ready to play sports. I can't run. I can't play sports. Why? Because my age. I'm over the age. I'm 2 years ahead. I'm 2 years older. And so I was eligible to run. I was eligible to play football. So now I'm in high school and I'm just like going through the motions. I'm watching all my friends play sports. I'm watching everybody run track, play football. I can't do anything. I just got to sit there and watch everybody do what they do. So my only thing was to focus on academics. My academically wise, I was not the brightest, I was not the smartest. I always needed help. So fast forward, graduate high school, I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna go to somebody's college and I'm going to run track. I'm going to try out for the Olympics. That was my goal, honestly. That was my goal. And so all my life, I wanted to prove a point. Sorry about that, guys. I had a phone call. Sorry about that. So all my life, can you guys hear me? If you guys hear me, please type yes for me, please. Okay. So fast forward, all my life, after I graduated high school, I said, okay, I'm going to try for the Olympics. I'm going to go ahead and become this, become that. Then one day I get a phone call. And by the way, when I graduated high school, I moved to Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, which is about an hour and some change from Nashville, if I'm not mistaken, if not 30 minutes, but from Nashville, Tennessee. So I moved to Tennessee with my aunt, and my goal was to go to college out there, try out, and run track and maybe play football. This depends. But I was so focused on track because of what had happened. And so I get a phone call one morning at like maybe 5:30 in the morning, about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I get this phone call, and this phone call that I received, guys, is from my high school girlfriend, and at the time, and I get a call stating that we just had a kid. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, I just had a kid. Like, what's going on? All I'm trying to do is go to college and play sports. Like, I wasn't smart in school, so I have something I need to prove. I have something to prove. Like, there's some things I want to do. So I get the call. A lot of you guys, may have gotten this call before, and you felt like, okay, all right, it put me back. So I received this phone call, so that I just had a little girl, and had no clue, just had a little girl. So I'm like, okay. So I come back to Louisiana, see my daughter. I go back to Tennessee, and I'm like, you know what? And this is me sharing with you guys. I go back, I sit down, talk with my aunt. I say, you know what, Auntie, I gotta go back. She was like, I know why. She said, I showed her the picture. I said, I can't stay up here. I gotta go back. So I felt like I dropped the baton again. That's how I felt at that time when I heard the news, when I received that phone call. Come back home, I go back to Tennessee once again. I go back to Tennessee, and like I said, I shared with my aunt. I showed her the picture. I said, I got to go back home. I have responsibilities. I have responsibility to have a daughter back home that didn't ask to be here. So I have responsibilities. I have priorities now. I have to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that my daughter has whatever it is that she needs, even though I was young at the time. And so I felt like I dropped the baton multiple times. Some of you guys may have played football, played basketball, soccer, you name it, baseball. You didn't hit that home run. In track, you may have dropped the baton. In track, you may didn't go to the championship, whatever. Football, you may not have, received that championship ring. Basketball, vice versa. You didn't receive that ring, that championship, whatever. You missed the shot, whatever the case may be. In my situation, relating to you all, I feel like I dropped the baton multiple times. But coming back was my biggest blessing, because I became the man that I am today because of me coming back home. And so with that being said, like, all of us has dropped some sort of ball, whatever the case may be, or baton, whatever the case may be. But now you have the opportunity to create and to run to the finish line, to cross that, or to kick that soccer ball in this goalie, to hit the home run that you always wanted to hit, to win the championship that you always wanted to win in life, this life now. We all wish that we can go back and change some things and fix some things that we may have done in life, in sports, in school, whatever the case may be, but we can't go back. There's so many would have, could have, should haves out there in the world, and a lot of us was in that same shoe, was in that same situation, and we now have an opportunity now that we can create, and we can change, that we can build, that we can create a legacy that we've always wanted to create for our family. You guys now have the opportunity to run your own race and to win your own race. But in order to win your own race, in order to hit that home run, in order to win that championship, in order to receive that ring, in order to finish, to actually run across that finish line on that track field of life, in order for you to finish that, you can't quit. You can't quit. The moment you decide to quit, the moment you decide to give up, that's when you lost. The moment you decide that in your mentally, you've lost. There's no home run that's going to be hit. There's no touchdown that's going to take place. Nothing. There's no finishing. There's no running across or finishing across that finish line that you've always wanted to run across and receive that medal for or that ring for. Like receive the ring of greatness about being great. Receive the championship of being great for yourself, for your family. That's my goal. And with my story, I've shortened it up so much for y'all because I didn't want to drag this on. But I realized that this life that we've been given from God, like we have the ability to create whatever we want to create if we begin to speak the right things. So what are you creating with the words that are coming out of your mouth? What is it that you're saying on a consistent basis, on a daily basis? What is it that you're telling yourself? Right? Like you're worth it. You're worthy of it. You were created for it. But have you received it spiritually, mentally, in here? Have you received that? See, I can go back and ponder on what happened and what my coach did and what they didn't do, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that's cool. But I didn't have control back then. I didn't have control. I have control now. You didn't have control back then over some things that took place in your life. You didn't have a say-so back then, but you have a say-so now. You're able to take control now of your life, of your destiny, of where you want to go with this opportunity. And can I say this? You're not going to get it right every day. You're not going to get it right all the time. You're not going to get it right all the time. Stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up because you're not getting it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time. I wake up sometimes, not exactly, not even with parenting. I don't get it right. But the thing about with me personally, I recognize it. Now, if you're at the place where you're not recognizing the mistakes you're making, things that you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing it, then that's a problem. Because you can't fix what you're not able to recognize. But once you recognize it, it's like, okay, I need to change this. I need to change my behavior. I need to change the way I think. I need to change the things that I see. When you know that you're supposed to change it and you're not changing it, doing anything to fix that, then that's a problem. Then the problem is you. You're the problem. It's not anybody else. You're the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the solution to my problem. You're the solution to your problem. The source, the source, the one and only source is in you. He's in you. He's in you. But you have this other thing that's trying to speak these things into you that's not even who you are. That's so opposing to his will for your life. Really. So you have to speak the correct words. You have to speak what you want to become. You have to speak who you are. Like, honestly, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about today, but I just kind of flow with it. It's kind of flow. And once again, run your own race at your own pace, right? And understand that you can win this race. You're running it by yourself. When do you want to finish? When do you want to run across that finish line? How many home runs do you want to hit? How many touchdowns do you want to catch? How many three-pointers, free throws that you want to make? The ball is in your hands. It's not in anybody else's hands. It's not mom's, not dad. It's not, no. You're in complete control of your life. God has given you complete control. He's given you free will. What are you willfully thinking? What are you willing to do for your loved ones, for yourself, for your children? That maybe your parents didn't do for you because maybe they didn't know how to do it. Maybe they was never taught how to do it, on how to do it. It's not that they were just that bad for some of us. They just taught us what they were taught. And in most cases, hardly nothing. But can we be mad at them? Can we dislike them? Can we hate them? No, because you hating them or disliking them, that doesn't make you any better. How does that make you better? Just do better. Exactly, Jay. Just do better. Just do better than them and provide a lifestyle for them that they only dreamed of, that they've always wished they could do, dreamed they can do. So you create the lifestyle that they've always dreamed of. And you take and you do for them what they've only imagined they can do for you, but they couldn't do it because they didn't have an IML Academy. They didn't have a RetiredIn365 family. This is what we have in our hands. And so are we taking advantage of this opportunity? Not taking advantage of the people, but are we taking advantage of this opportunity that's been given to us, that's been placed in our hands? Right? Are you following what your coach, your mentor is telling you to do? Are you implementing that? Are you implementing that? Because, for example, I practice a certain way every track meet. And when it came down to the track meet that really, really mattered the most, some things, my position was switched up. Didn't work out. Didn't work out. But in this situation, in this particular business, organization, family, are you practicing what your mentor, our mentors are telling you to do? Are you implementing that? Because if you're not, I suggest that you begin to start implementing it now so you can begin to see the success that you're desiring for your life in this opportunity. See, my coach tried to reinvent the wheel at the time. He tried to reinvent the wheel. For me, it didn't work out. Not when it mattered the most. Like, no, don't do that. But that's what happened. I allowed that to happen. Why? Because I had no say-so. Don't try to reinvent this wheel that's been given to you. That's when devastation begin to take place in your life, in this opportunity. That's different out there. This here we have is so unique. Run the play. Exactly, Bev. Run the play. Run the play exactly how it's been given to you. And so with that being said, guys, I see it's 11:05. So that's my time. Javon, ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, thank you all for just really, really listening and sitting in and giving me the opportunity to express myself to y'all about, just with my track, with me running track, etc. But I greatly appreciate you all for y'all time, and I love you guys so much. that being said, you guys be blessed. Have a blessed day. Jay, you can take over, bro. Thank you, man.